there's plenty of debate over Uganda's new law, which includes the death penalty for those found guilty of aggravated homosexuality. And even those like ostensibly conservative voices, Senator Ted Cruz of Texas, has made this law his new obeisance or sacrificial offering to the global homo mafia during its holiest month in honor of Pride, which we are reclaiming for the Sacred Heart of Jesus. It turns out that the definition for aggravated homosexuality is for those who spread HIV and for those who rape children, the disabled, or those who are drugged. Yet Senator Cruz is even going to battle against Christian pastors online just to tear into Uganda, hoping for crumbs of attaboys from the left, those who have the real power in this country. Funny how he's been kind of silent on South Africa for even considering the possibility of introducing race quotas for access to water, which of course is to target white people in the country. Selective outrage is one hell of a drug. Well, I'm not about to start calling for lifelong prison sentences for gay people, as other parts of that Ugandan law stipulate, or the death penalty part either, as I'm just against that completely for any crime. What I am in favor of is using the law as a teacher of natural law and of what is morally good, and that means restoring the true definition of marriage. And before anyone starts crying about how who's to say what is morally good, every faith tradition has its own definition, just stop for a moment and realize how much liberal solipsism you've imbibed over the years to forget millennia of what your ancestors knew by heart. Some moral traditions are right and just, others aren't, and God gave us the rational faculties to determine which is which. It really is as simple as that. So allow me to use this moment to talk about St. Charles Lwanga and the other Christian martyrs who were killed by the Ugandan king for denying his homosexual advances on them back in the 1880s. At first, the Catholic priests known as the White Fathers were cordially accepted into Uganda to preach in 1879 by King Mutesa. But once he died, his son, known for engaging in corruption, pedophilia, and homosexuality, took over the throne. His name was King Mwanga. The tension grew to the point in which a visiting Anglican bishop was murdered. A Catholic page to the king, Joseph Mukasa, decried the horror of the murder of his Protestant brother and went to great lengths to protect young pages and other boys at court from the king's lust. His reward was to be beheaded by royal decree in November of 1885. And that's when 25-year-old Charles Lwanga became the next chief page. Here's what happened next. According to the Catholic News Agency, they say, quote, on the night of the martyrdom of Joseph Mukasa, realizing that their own lives were in danger, Lwanga and some of the other pages went to the White Fathers to receive baptism. Another 100 catechumens were baptized in the week following Joseph Mukasa's death. The following May, King Mwanga learned that one of the boys was learning catechism. He was furious and ordered all the pages to be questioned to separate the Christians from the others. The Christians, 15 in all between the ages of 13 and 25, stepped forward. The king asked them if they were willing to keep their faith. They answered in unison, until death. They were bound together and taken on a 2-day walk to Namugongo, where they were to be burned at the stake. On the way, Matthias Kalemba, one of the eldest boys, exclaimed, God will rescue me, but you will not see how he does it, because he will take my soul and leave you only my body. The executioners cut him to pieces and left him to die alone on the road, which took at least 3 days. When they reached the site where they were to be burned, they were kept tied together for 7 days while the executioners prepared the wood for the fire. On June 3, 1886, the Feast of the Ascension, Charles Lwanga was separated from the others and burned at the stake. The executioners slowly burned his feet until only the charred remained. Still alive, they promised him that they would let him go if he renounced his faith. He refused, saying, you are burning me, but it is as if you were pouring water over my body. He then continued to pray silently as they set him on fire. Just before the flames reached his heart, he looked up and said in a loud voice, Katanda, my God, and died. His companions were all burned together the same day, all the while praying and singing hymns until they died. There were 24 proto-martyrs in all. The last of the proto-martyrs, a young man named John Mary, was beheaded by King Mwanga on January 27, 1887. The persecution spread during the reign of Mwanga, with 100 Christians, both Catholics and Protestants, being tortured and killed, end quote. Will Senator Cruz honor their legacy? It is in Uganda after all. Or are conservative figureheads more interested in virtue signaling leftist pieties? And with that, I'm all out of time for tonight. Hopefully you learned something interesting to take with you into tomorrow. Until then, you can follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and Truth Social at Tipping Point OAN, or on my personal account, Nefertari_25. If you like the show, please send us feedback at tippingpoint@oann.com, and make sure to subscribe to OAN Live and to download the app for iOS, Android, Apple TV, and for other devices to watch Tipping Point wherever you go. And OAN Live features video on demand, so you never have to miss a show. So as always, thank you. Have a great night.